All. Today I'm here to discuss on the topic genetically modified foods. In this presentation, we will be briefly discussing about various process, methods and examples which are involved in producing genetically modified foods. Genetically modified foods are those foods which are either produced from genetically modified organisms or genetically modified crops. They are usually produced by introducing some changes in their DNA by applying some genetic engineering techniques, namely called mutagenesis. Mutagenesis is generally referred to mutation breeding. Scientists first discovered that DNA can transfer between the organisms in 1946. Flor Sauer is one of the important scientists who is involved in the transgenic tomato and found that transfer of gene in 1994. In 1990s, recombinant chymosin was approved for use in several countries, replacing rennet in cheese making. So this picture clearly describes about the method of production, the various steps involved in producing a recombinant gene DNA from a gene of pest resistant plant. So next slide is about examples. This slide gives some of the examples about the food crops which are available in the market which are being produced from genetically modified crops. This example includes soy, canola, tomato, rice, cotton and meat. So the next slide is about characteristics, the major characteristics involved in genetically modified crops. There are two major aspects that can be improved by genetic modification. They are alteration of input traits and alteration of output traits. Alteration of input traits gives about that these genetically modified crops are resistant to pests and harmful factor. They are resistant to pesticide, herbicide and resistant to diseases and various viruses. In alteration of output trait, these genetically modified crops increase the output of crops, they increase duration of shelf life, they increase nutritional value and increase health and medical benefits. So the benefits of genetically engineering and modifying. Genetically engineering and modifying has various benefits. Some of them are listed below. That is, they provide higher yielding crops and more efficient use of land. They can save money and promote higher profits. They provide longer shelf life. Example, tomatoes from genetically modified seeds stay fresh longer than the natural tomato. They enhance taste and quality, and genetically modified crops also reduce maturation time compared to natural crops. Next is controversies. As how a coin has two sides, that is heads and tails, genetically modified crops also has some controversies. The major controversies is about the safety. Safety is a major issue in this discovery. Scientists and pressure groups such as Greenpeace and WWF insist that there is no guarantee in producing a genetically modified crop. Some of the controversies are they gives a major effect on ecosystem, reducing the number of pest insects in farmland and impacting biodiversity by decreasing the use of insecticides. Attempts to measure effects by farm scale trials of GM crops, although they have been controversial. The risks and effects of horizontal gene transfer have also been cited as a major concern, with the possibility that genes might spread from modified crops to wild relatives. The two major case studies involved in the controversies are Pudzai potato data and bioequivalence study of a corn cultivator. In Pudzai potato data, rats fed potatoes are genetically modified to contain lectin. Lectin is basically a natural insecticide in snowdrop plants that have stunted growth and immune system damage. Bioequivalence study of a corn cultivator. In this, rats were being fed on genetically modified corn, and that shows differences in kidney size and blood composition found in the studies. However, it was argued that the differences were not biologically meaning. The next is about examples of genetically modified crops. So some of the examples, their properties and modifications are listed in a tabulation below. The first is about tomato. The properties involved here are suppression of the enzyme polygalactonase, retarding fruit softening after harvesting. The modification is a reverse copy of an antisense gene of the gene responsible for the production of enzyme added into plant genome. The next is about wheat crop. The property involved are resistance to glyphosate herbicide. The modification is new genes are added into plant genome. Next is sugar beet. The properties is resistant to glyphosate, glucofosinate herbicide. The modification is a new genes added or transferred into plant genome. The next is about sugarcane. The properties of a genetically modified variety is they are resistant to certain pesticide, high sucrose content. The modification is new genes added or transferred into plant genome. The next is papaya. The property involved here are resistance to the papaya ring spot virus. The modification are new genes added or transferred into plant genome. The next is cotton seed oil. That is the property is kills suspectable insects pests. Modification involved is gene for one or more Bt crystal protein transferred into plant genome. Next is canola or rapeseed. The property here is they are resistant to herbicide, glyphosate or glucofosinate. The modification involved is new genes added to plant genome. The next is alfalfa, resistance to glyphosate or glyphosinate herbicide. The modification here is new genes are added are transferred into plant genome. The last is about the potato. The property involved are new leaf, that is Bt resistance against collado beetle and resistance against two viruses. The modification involved are new leaf, that is gene for one or more Bt crystal protein. That's all about genetically modified crops. Thank you.